Hello and welcome back for another week of the Korean Beauty Show podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Lee, founder of Australia's first online K-beauty platform, Style Story, and of course, your guide to all things Korean beauty. If things like sheet masks, snail mucin, and BB creams get you a little bit hot under the collar, then you are in the right spot, because that is exactly the kind of things that we talk about on this show, which is of course brought to you by stylestory.com.au. Now, don't forget that for the month of February, we are running a podcast review competition. All you need to do is leave your review for the Korean Beauty Show podcast somewhere online for the month of February, and you will go into the draw to win a $150 AUD gift voucher to Style Story to spend on whatever products you like. So the easiest way to leave your review is going to be either on your podcast app, if the podcast app allows reviews, or you can also head over to Style Story's Facebook page, which is stylestory.au, and leave your review there. Any reviews that we receive, we will put together and draw out the winner. Basically, it will be chosen at random. So don't forget to do that. If there is, maybe you've got a product that you've been thinking about pulling the trigger on that you want to try out, this is a great way to do it. We will basically give you the money to go and buy the product. So that is just a little reminder that that is what we are doing this month. Now, on this Tuesday's episode, of course, we have our K-Beauty news headlines to kick off the week. Now, this one was a little bit concerning, I guess, when I first saw the headline, and that was that using sheet masks for more than 20 minutes can increase your risk of dermatitis. So this was a story doing the rounds in Korea, and basically what it was a study that was conducted in China with Chinese participants, and it showed that using mask sheets for more than 20 minutes at a time can increase the likelihood of dermatitis. So the report was released through Scientific Reports, and the research team apparently recruited 175 subjects who were above the age of 18 in China, and they divided them into two subgroups to conduct the experiment. So what they did is they took the same mask, the same sheet mask, they applied it to 35 people in the first group, and then the remaining people were required to apply one of 4 sheet masks for 15 minutes. So the first group of people, they divided it up. Some tested it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20, 25 minutes, and 30 minutes. And then the rest did 15 minutes. And what they did is after everyone had taken the mask sheets off, they then measured the levels of phenoxyethanol and methylparaben in the face to determine the degree of exposure to chemicals. So these are two of the most commonly used preservatives in personal care products. And they can cause contact dermatitis in some people. Obviously, not everyone is going to have this problem. But what they did is they basically reviewed the relative exposure to these two preservatives, and they found that it gradually increased over time, but rapidly increased from 25 minutes. So basically, the longer that you're exposed to these chemicals when you are wearing a sheet mask, then the more likelihood your risk of developing dermatitis. So what they concluded, therefore, is that it is not recommended that people wear a mask for more than 20 minutes. And they did make some caveats as well. Basically, they said that your exposure to the risk will depend on your race, your gender, your skin blood content. They also pointed out that this is specific to East Asians, that the results would be most relevant to people who are East Asian, who have similar skin conditions and lifestyle, obviously because they only conducted the experiment on Chinese participants. So that is a relevant factor in the test results. And then they also said that the results will differ depending on the type of fabric used for the sheet mask. Obviously, there are a whole different type of materials that can be used to make up the mask sheet itself. And what they noted was that the average exposure increased by more than 20% when they switched from a splenic fiber mask to a plant cellulose mask. So the cellulose masks are actually the more expensive ones in terms of like a raw material to work with. The cellulose ones are really, really expensive, but your risk actually increased with those. So there you go. That was the findings of this particular study. I would say 20 minutes, honestly, is, you probably don't need to be wearing the mask for longer than that. Forgetting the risk of dermatitis increasing, I think I've spoken on the show before that actually you don't get better results from leaving the mask on for longer anyway. The ideal time to remove your sheet mask is when the mask starts to feel a little bit dry, because what's happening with the mask is it's creating a barrier on your face. And if the mask totally dries out, it can actually draw the moisture away from your face. So I'd say the ideal time to leave a sheet mask on, and for me personally anyway, and I have very dry skin, is 10 to 15 minutes. So I don't think there's much need to leave them on for more than 20 minutes, but just something to keep in mind. This particular study found that leaving it on for longer than 20 minutes may increase your risk of dermatitis as well. So there you go. Obviously some pretty big caveats in there around the fact that this test was only performed on East Asians, but still, I guess useful information to keep in mind if you are someone that does face mask, frequently, that is a potential irritant, I guess. So that was the most interesting thing that I found in the news this week. So I thought I would share that with you. And now for this week's question of the week, which was actually a very, I guess, similar related question. And the question was, what can I do if I think I'm allergic to a skincare product? So that is a really, really great question. I think a lot of people have probably, had this experience from time to time. You put something on your face and maybe your face goes red, or it feels like it's stinging or burning, or you get little, I guess the best way to describe when I have a reaction to a product, my face immediately blushes and goes red, and then I get these almost pimple looking little red marks that pop up, and they've got like pus or water inside them. That's the reaction that I have when I'm allergic to something. So look, here is what to do if you do think you might be allergic to something. First of all, stop using it. Don't keep testing it. Sometimes that can happen even if we have already done our patch testing, we put it on our face for the first time, and you will notice this reaction. So look, the first thing to do, definitely stop using it. The second thing I would say is take a look at the ingredients list, and you might want, if it's a new product, say you think you might be allergic to a new product, if you have absolutely no idea what's caused the problem, then it can be really, really difficult, and basically you're going to need to cut back on pretty much everything and retest everything one by one, unfortunately. But take a look at the ingredients list. Now, the first thing I see pretty much everyone online say is, oh, it had fragrance in it, so that's the culprit. And I think, this kind of thinking, you could say, has been perpetuated by a lot of one YouTuber in particular I can think of, but a lot of other like skincare influencers, skinfluencers, fragrance is always the culprit if you listen to these people. And it's true that fragrance can be a problem for some people, but I think the vast majority of people that I see, there are so many other ingredients that are far more likely to be the cause, and they are things like retinols, AHAs, BHAs, niacinamide, vitamin E. And those things are all much, much, much higher up on the ingredients list than fragrance. Fragrance in most products is way down the bottom. Like that's technically where it should be. It should be very, very close to the bottom. So the things that are higher up the ingredients list are far more likely to have an impact on your skin in a lot of cases than, fragrance. Other things, parabens like butylparaben, methylparaben, propylparaben, ethylparaben, common other ingredients that you might not be aware of that can cause reactions for a lot of people, or people that are sensitive to them, are things like butylene glycol, propylene glycol, emollients like lanolin, which is actually natural and it comes from sheep, coconut butter, cocoa butter, isopropyl palmitate, isosterol isosterate, myristal lactate, sulfates like SLS. Lots and lots and lots of things can be a problem, and I see most people just automatically jump to fragrance or essential oils and sort of leave it there. And I wish it was as simple as that, but it's just not. So take a look at the ingredients list. If any of those things are really high up the top, then that is something to be suspicious of. And a lot of these things you will notice are, very, very high at the top, 5 or the ingredient 5 or 6. So that is something to take a note of. And then what you can do is obviously stop using it. You can go through the process, if you like, again, of re-patch testing everything in your routine. I have had to do that before. And then look, if you literally cannot find the culprit, or you just can't seem to isolate it to anything in particular, that's when you're probably going to go and need to seek specialist medical advice. And I am going through this process myself at the moment. So I've actually had in the past an allergy test done to see whether I was allergic to any food, because I was just getting the same problem, contact dermatitis, and it didn't seem to have any commonality to any specific products that I was using in my routine. So I actually went and had an allergy panel test done. It was just a blood test to see if I was allergic to any foods. And that came back that I did have some foods that I was allergic to, but didn't seem to match up in time to me having this allergy, basically. So the other thing you can do, if you do suspect that it's not food related and it is, cosmetic related, because even food related allergies can show up in strange places on your face. And the other thing that I was suspicious, and that my dermatologist was suspicious that it might be for a long time, was actually hair dye. So he said that the allergy pattern that I had coming up was very, very common in an allergy to hair dye. So I actually went through a process for about a year where I didn't use an allergen that he had identified that could be causing a problem, to see whether that made a difference. And unfortunately, in my case, it didn't seem to make a difference. So that's another thing that you might suspect in some cases can have an impact on your face as well, your face and your neck. And then lastly, the last thing that I am planning to do is actually go and have one of these specialist patch tests done overnight. So the dermatologist will apply to the back a whole lot of common allergens, leave it, and then come back and see which one comes back. And I'm at the point now where I actually just do need to go and get that done, because I can't identify what is causing my skin to have this reaction. So that is, I guess, if you take it to the end of the road with all of your own at-home testing and trying to isolate what ingredient it is, then that is something that you can also go and do. So yeah, that is basically the procedure. If you think you might be allergic to a skincare product, then firstly, the most obvious thing is just to stop using it. There are lots of different ways to patch test, which we've spoken about on the program before. The ingredients list, you're just going to want to have a look and see if you can identify anything that might be common in the reaction that you're having. And I've got a whole list of ingredients there that people can have allergies to. Now, this is not to say, even really common ones like vitamin E, that's a great ingredient, but not if you have an allergy to it. And it's the same for things like niacinamide, BHAs, retinols, everything. If that causes an allergic reaction to you, even though there's nothing wrong with it as an ingredient, you're going to need to steer clear of it, basically. So I will put that list up in today's show notes as well, just because I think with all of the chat around fragrance in skincare, particularly at the moment with everything being fragrance for free, people saying, oh, well, if it's got fragrance in it, you have to avoid it. I think people can tend to overlook that there are literally so many other ingredients that can cause problems. And I think fragrance is just, an easy one for people to go, oh, well, I've knocked that off my list, so I'm all good. And I wish it was as simple as that, but it's just not. So I'll put that list up. But yeah, ultimately, if you cannot really isolate it by yourself, then you are going to have to go and have, I guess, a test done with your doctor, with your dermatologist, whoever conducts the tests in your country. That is the most precise and accurate way to find out what you're actually allergic to. And it could be something really weird too that you just, aren't alive to or never even thought about. So that's the procedure, that's the process. So I hope that's useful. And then we had our new product releases, of course, for this week. So 2 exciting new releases that have just landed at Style Story this year. The first one was APLB's Glutathione Hyaluronic Acid Tone-Up Cream. Now, APLB has a really, really great range of glutathione products. And this one, you might be familiar, one of their best sellers is actually their Glutathione Brightening Cream, their tone-up cream. So that one is the kind of product that you apply in the morning. So this one is slightly different to that. It has a combination of glutathione and hyaluronic acid, and it's specifically for nourishing the skin, soothing, hydrating it, balancing the skin tone. That's what it's aiming to do. So this product is perfect for people who have tired looking skin. If the skin looks loose and dehydrated, this is a really, really ideal formula. And as you would expect with APLB products, they don't tend to focus on these one ingredient formulas like a lot of other Korean brands do. They are really all about getting a whole blend of really, really great skincare ingredients and mixing them together. And this formula is no exception. They've combined glutathione, sodium hyaluronate, collagen, niacinamide, beta-glucan, squalane, centella complex, and macadamia seed oil. So this product in Korea is really, really highly rated. I checked the Korean language reviews for it, and it's got a 4.5 out of 5-star rating over about 500 Korean language reviews. So this is a very, very popular product in Korea. You won't really see it outside of Korea because it is one of these direct-to-consumer brands, but a very, very popular product in Korea itself. And the second release we have from them is their new peeling gel, Perfect Refresh Peeling Gel. So this kind of product is really, really great for people that are looking to do gentle exfoliation. But unlike other peeling gel products, this one really does keep the hydration in your skin at the same time without stripping your skin of its natural oils. So it will brighten your skin, it'll give you a more even skin tone, but without the irritation. And the formula, again, this is just a really, really interesting formula. They've combined soybean, sesame, and rice extract, all of which are really, really good to soften the skin, condition the skin, boost the skin. So I think this is a great product for people that are looking to, obviously if your pores are looking a little larger than you like, just to keep everything really, really nice and refined, keep everything looking tight. And they are not the only ingredients in the formula. They also have licorice, glycerin, betaine, eggplant fruit extract, beta-glucan, and then one that you may not be as familiar with, which is hydroxyacetophenone, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is an antioxidant and a skin conditioning agent, which means it's capable of neutralizing those free radicals, and it also boosts the preservation system in this particular product as well. So that's what it's used for. And again, this product, hundreds of Korean language reviews in Korea, and it also garnered a 4.5 out of 5-star rating. So this is going to be a really, really nice one for people that are just looking for a peeling gel type of product that doesn't irritate the skin. So you might have seen similar products on social media. This is one of those ones that when it reacts with the skin, you'll get the little particles, and that's not necessarily all the dead skin coming off your face itself. That's just how the product is designed to work, but a really, really nice product. So they are both up on the Style Story website now. So if you've been looking for a product like that, they are 2 new ones that you might like to go and try. So yeah, that is what I had for today's episode. Of course, I will be back on Thursday, and this week we're planning to do a deep dive about everything you need to know, any questions you might have had in your mind about BHAs. Basically a deep dive on exactly how they work, what they do, some things to look out for with your BHAs if you're incorporating them into your routine, and of course a roundup of some of the best K-beauty products featuring BHAs. So stick around for that. Make sure you stay subscribed if you are interested to learn about that, and I will talk to you on Thursday.